Breaking news, Sean Diddy Combs found not guilty of 3 out of 5 counts. The big one, count number 1, racketeering, not guilty. Count 2, 3, sex trafficking by force, also not guilty. However, guilty on transportation for the purposes of prostitution. Now that's technically when you transport someone across state lines, like through a flight, a paid flight, for the purpose of prostituting them to someone else. And that count has about a 10-year maximum punishment. Now, the reason I say about is because most judges aren't going to give you the max count. Usually, a judge is going to go for a midpoint, and then depending on what they thought of your testimony, they'll go slightly lower or slightly above. Since he got off the RICO charge, let's assume they go slightly above, and a judge goes for maybe a 6-year sentencing on each count of the transportation for the purposes of prostitution case. Diddy's already served about 9 months in jail, since he's been in jail since his arrest on September 16th, 2024. That probably is going to count towards his sentence. And if he gets sentenced to 6 years for each count, I wouldn't be surprised to see a judge say he can serve those concurrently rather than consecutively when you stack the counts. That would be 12 years, right? So if he could serve both counts concurrently, he potentially has another 5 years in prison. However, most people get off on good behavior, if you have good behavior, at about 60% of time served, which would be about 3 years. So that's already discounting the 9 months he's already served. So he's probably looking at, getting out of prison before 2030, somewhere between 2028 and 2030. Like, maybe he'll get out of prison while Trump is still in office, assuming Trump leaves office January 2029. So remember, now, what the big deal here has to do with a video that CNN released. This was really the big portion of the case here, where this 2016 video showed Diddy grabbing and throwing his girlfriend. There are 2 girlfriends that were included here, one using the pseudonym Jay, and the other is Cassie Ventura, so Cassandra Ventura. Cassie testified with her name, Cassie, and the other under the pseudonym Jay. Those are the 2 counts that we have. So this is where you could see allegations. Mr. Combs became extremely intoxicated, punched Mrs. Ventura in the face, giving her a black eye. He then fell asleep. The allegations were that he would be very upset over not having what he wanted in terms of sex, basically. This footage, along with many other pictures, such as pictures of drugs or pills or whatever found in the hotel rooms, these were all part of the testimony against Diddy. Again, not guilty of racketeering, like RICO charges. And these would have really taken, you would have had to have a pretty hefty standard here to prove racketeering, because you have to show that you've committed 5 different racketeering charges. So far, we've got 2 here for transportation for the purposes of prostitution. It seems like the, Justice Department was trying to put this together by saying, well, it wasn't just transportation. We have, 2 counts of transportation, but we've also got sex trafficking, plus mixing in, some form of organized crime charges along with this to try to build up the racketeering case. It just wasn't enough to stick against this 55-year-old American rapper, Sean Diddy Combs. Now, keep in mind, he's been in jail since he was arrested. He applied for bail 3 times, and he was denied bail all 3 times by judges. So he's been in jail waiting for this day. And the day has finally come, and he has been found guilty of 2 of the counts, count 4 or 5, transportation for the purposes of prostitution. And yes, some of the drug photos are baby oil. Yes, I was referring to the lower portions. Obviously, yes, the top photos are baby oil. Yes, we see that. Somebody in the chat here says he will be pardoned. I suppose that's possible too, especially since pardons are currently for sale. It seems like a pardon costs you about $2 to $3 million. So we could look at maybe Diddy's net worth as an American rapper. It should be substantially more than that. But the reason we say that is we look at the Trevor Milton pardon. Trevor Milton, clear as day financial fraud. Many people in the finance community really rolled their eyes when Donald Trump pardoned Trevor Milton from the Nikola disaster. Blatant fraud, blatant lying, clear as day securities fraud. Appropriately punished, finally, by regulators. Donated about $2 to $3 million between himself and his wife to Trump's re-election campaign. And then within, the first 90 days, got pardoned by Trump. Now, Trump, in his press conference, in fairness, says, I was told he was unfairly prosecuted. This was a witch hunt. And he basically says he didn't know Trevor Milton. So, to some extent, this wasn't, in my opinion, Trump saying, oh yeah, I'm going to pardon Trevor Milton because he's a fraud. I don't think Trump knew anything about this guy. I think one of the Trump staffers is like, hey, we got $2.5 million for this. I got a big bag of cash as well. Pardon this guy. And, he was abused by Democratic prosecutors and Biden. And so hence, Trump is like, it was a witch hunt. And they pardoned this guy. Now, could this happen to Diddy? I don't know. It's kind of hard to say you don't know Diddy. Now, you've got estimates that Diddy's net worth is somewhere around $3 million, though some people say it could be as much as $1 billion. Nobody really knows, but it's certainly enough to potentially donate. And what's interesting, if you look at J.D. Vance, he's actually going on a fundraising tour. So you've got J.D. Vance, who's got 3 different fundraisers coming up. Fundraisers. So on July 22nd, for example, attendees can pay $250,000 per couple to join a committee or $100,000 per couple to join a dinner at the July 22nd event. So you've got 3 different events happening. I think one of them, Charlie Kirk is emceeing at. Tickets, yeah, here it is. The event Charlie Kirk is going to be at goes for $2,500 a seat. So there are plenty of fundraising campaigns going that could get you close to the Trump admin. Of course, JD or Diddy's not going to be able to show up to these. It's going to have to be someone from the Diddy party that would show up. But anyway, it's somewhat interesting. Somebody here says 2 to 3 mil is nothing compared to losing the midterm elections. That's also possible. Somebody here is joking Trump is going to announce golden pardons for $5 million. Yes, to help pay off the U.S. debt. So let's see here. Somebody else writes, outrageous going to prison for an act between 2 consenting adults. The video of domestic violence deserves prison time. Right. So this is the argument for Diddy, right? Is that, was this really sex trafficking or for the purpose of prostitution if this person was a girlfriend? So obviously we don't have all of the details here, but a lot of people say, hey, this should be a domestic violence case. This should not be a transportation for the sake of prostitution case. That's a big argument. That's why a lot of people are coming to Diddy's defense, saying this is ridiculous. This is, a blown up case and charge against Diddy. Somebody here says Diddy will swap with Elon. Okay. All right. And
why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.